Welcome to Phil Gordon's podcast from the 2005 World Series of Poker, brought to you by ExpertInsight.com. Phil is co-host of Bravo's Celebrity Poker Showdown, a two-time World Poker Tour champion and noted author. For more insight into the mind of a true poker champion, visit www.expertinsight.com.
Thanks for downloading my World Series of Poker podcast. Tune in every day for more insight and fun from the Rio in Las Vegas. This is Phil Gordon. For more information, visit my website, www.expertinsight.com. Okay, it's back to work. It is Sunday. Today is $2,000 buy-in pot limit hold'em. It's hard to get motivated to sit back down with only 2,000 in chips when I was just at the final table with 260,000. But this is what tournament poker is all about. You got to wind your way through a field today, probably over 700 or 800. I'm not really sure. Other thing that's happening today that I'll be covering later in the podcast is the final four for the World Series of Rock, Scissors, Paper. Annie Duke and Ray First are in the final, along with Boyd and Keller. It's going to be a fantastic final event. $10,000 seat into the World Series of Poker for the satellite winner. So today I'm going to pretty much stick to my game. My game plan today is to play very tight in the early couple of rounds while the blinds are small. Pick a few spots. I'm certainly willing to gamble if necessary, but I like playing tight early in a tournament. I think that makes a lot of sense, and especially in pot limit. Your opponents can't make as big a mistake as they can make a no limit because your bet size is limited to the size of the pot. So a lot of pot limit is about extracting value rather than pushing your opponents off hands that can beat you. It's more of a grinding game than no limit is. So anyway, I'm going to try to get a couple interviews here. I see James Woods in the house. I'll ask him about a little bit about pot limit strategy. Try to get interviews with some of the other players. Sorry my report yesterday was so short, but I was absolutely exhausted after my final table experience on Saturday, and I needed to get some rest. Rafe did a great job of covering the No Limit Hold'em event that my buddy Perry Friedman's at the final table along with Eric Seidel, and that should be a lot of fun too. It's going to be a very exciting day down at the World Series of Poker. Thanks for tuning in, and be right back. Okay, joining me here is Dan Harrington. You'll know Dan, he's made the final table of the World Series of Poker the last 2 years in a row. That's one of the best accomplishments I've ever heard of. He's also the world champion. What year did you win, Dan?
1995.
How many players were in 1995?
273, God bless him.
10 times that number last year and probably 30 times that number this year. If you make the final table again, it's going to be quite an amazing story.
Well, Phil, take a look out in this room. There's 250 tables roughly in this room.
Right.
Just take a look at the whole room and think last year to get through the tournament, you had to go through this whole room. The way to describe it, there's a giant room with a whole sea of people in here.
Right.
Now you got to do 3 rooms like this to get to the final table.
It's going to be crazy. So today's event, I know you're playing in the pot limit, $2,000 pot limit tournament. Are there any strategic differences between pot limit and no limit, and if so, what are they? What differences do you make in your game?
For one, it's not easy to protect your hand before the flop because it's pot limit. You can only bet what's in the pot, and so you're going to be chased by more hands, and the quality of the hands may not be as great as you're used to in no limit. So some funky looking flops out there could actually hurt you, and you have to be wary of that.
The way I think about it is pocket pairs value go down and suited connectors and suited aces go up.
I'm nodding my head on the radio, but I agree.
That makes sense, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Pocket aces, are, although still the best hand, are less valuable in pot limit than they are in no limit because you can't just move in and get all the money in before the flop.
Suited connectors in position gaining a lot of value.
Right. So in no limit, you might be more inclined to, if someone raises in middle position, you might be inclined to throw away a 6-7 of diamonds. But in pot limit, it's a much easier hand to call with that kind of hand, right?
That's correct.
All right.
That is correct.
And do you generally always raise the size of the pot, or do you sometimes manipulate that, or?
Depending how I feel about my hand and the opponent, Lots of times I'd rather not raise the size of the pot to keep the options open. It basically is a variation of playing small ball. You just keep the pots reasonably small and try to have as many as possible, and hopefully your skill tells out over the long run.
Right. Now, I got to tell you, your book, Harrington on Hold'em, is one of the best books out there, and it really helped me a lot in my game. So anyone who's listening to the podcast who hasn't picked that up, go to Amazon right now. Harrington on Hold'em is a very, very good book, and I know that your new book is being released soon, too.
It's been was released earlier this week.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
And give me 2 minutes on what that's all about. What's the first book was No Limit Tournament all the way up to the final table, more or less, right?
The early parts of the tournament.
Early parts of the tournament. This is more about the final table?
This is more about, when the fields are shorter, when your stacks are getting small in relation to the blinds, and how your strategy changes and what you should be looking for. Basically, the values of the chips change with certain position and chip size.
I see. And I assume that you wrote this one again with Bill Roberti?
Correct.
Yeah, fantastic book. You got a great teaching style, and anyone who wants to be a world champion should read that book. I don't think you can make it if you haven't read it. So, Dan, thanks again. Good luck.
Thank you.
And
Bill.
we will we'll see you at the final table here shortly.
Well, hopefully we'll be sitting at the same seats.
Let's hope. Cheers.
All right, thanks.
Pile limit about to start. I got table 122, seat 8. I'm against 9 people I've never seen in my life. Should be good. Do see quite a star-studded field, and most of the best players in the world are still in this event. Luckily, none of them are at my table. We're about a minute away from shuffle up and deal. And this 2,000 in front of me doesn't look like a lot of chips anymore, but should be an interesting time. We're just at the end of the first level. Only won one pot that level. I had a couple of pocket pairs and saw some flops, but I wasn't able to connect on anything. I made one bluff attempt against a guy who knew I was on a flush draw, but he caught a straight on the river, so bluff didn't work out very well. Down to $1,350 in chips. Barry Greenstein gave me his new book, Ace on the River, an advanced poker guide. It's just a Meteor's review copy, but it looks pretty good. It's a very pretty book. Lots of nice pictures, and paper looks great. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of new strategic advice in there, though. I haven't finished it, obviously. Just still looking through it. But definitely worth it just for the pictures alone. With 20 minutes to go in the second level, I battled back. I'm above average for the first time in the tournament with 2,200. I just had pocket aces. Raised 150, blinds are 25.50. 2 people call, flop was 663. I bet half the pot, everyone folded. That got me to above average for the first time. All right, we've been to the third level. I've made quite a good move that time. I've got 3,800 in chips. I made one big bluff against Max Pescatore, but I kind of knew where he was at. He raised in late position. I called out of the blinds with ace jack. The flop came 10-10-5. I checked. He bet about half the pot, and I pretty much sensed he was weak, so I moved in, and he laid his hand down. That gave me, I won about 1,000 in that pot. Perry's doing pretty good at the final table, as is Eric Seidel. Perry's already had aces and flopped a set of 9s. Busted one guy. They're down to about 7. It's the end of the fourth level. We're on a 15-minute break. I've got about 2,300 in chips. I made another bluff attempt that was not going to work out. It was actually going to work out, and then I got called by a guy that I wasn't planning on being in the pot. These things happen. I'm well below average right now. I've got only about half an average stack, so I'm going to have to make some significant moves in the next round. My buddy Perry is still at the final table of the No Limit 2000. There are 6 players remaining. Eric Seidel's on his right. Sunday Violet's at the table. Don't exactly know what his chip count is, but it seems to be doing pretty well. He's guaranteed over 120,000 in chips. Or he's guaranteed a payday of over 120,000. Good for Perry. Anyway, I got to see if I can make a move here when we get back from break. Should be good if I can get some chips. There's a lot of weak money at the table. All right, joining me on break from the $2,000 buy-in No Limit Hold'em event is one of my good friends, Tilt Boy Perry Friedman. Perry, how many chips do you have?
229,000.
And there are 6 players left. Eric Seidel's on your right. Are you the short stack, or are you a little bit? Average is what, about 500 right now?
Yeah, average is just under 500.
Okay. So you're doing okay?
Yep.
Now, did you ever think you could win this much money playing poker? If you come in 6th place, you're going to be guaranteed about $150,000, which I do believe might get you almost even from the Tiltboy home game on Wednesday nights.
It'll be close.
It'll be very close. Kim, his wife, is also here. Kim, do you have any plans for the money? Because I know you're not going to let him have any of it.
Well, he can have a little bit.
How much is a little bit?
10%.
10%? That's all he gets?
10%.
That's it. She's being very generous. She usually takes it all.
I told everyone I play for charity.
No,
It all goes to my wife.
Now, Perry is famous for eating crayons, backstroking the fountain in front of Caesar's Palace, dressing up as a girl to play in a women's only poker tournament. Have you done anything interesting at the final table here?
I do have 2 little Senior Wences style hand puppets that have been guiding me through the tournament.
Perry's talking to his hand puppets at the final table here. There's only, about $3 million at stake, and yet Perry, the jokester, never has a hard time finding a way to have some fun. How the rest of the players at the table doing?
Everyone's playing pretty tight. Harry's probably the most aggressive. He steals a lot, and I'm just looking for a hand to come over the top with him.
Yeah. We only had 10 big blinds, right? With 10 big blinds, your object really isn't to steal blinds. Your object is to use all of your chips with maximum power. So you look for that loose, aggressive raiser. You come right over the top for all 229,000. They got to have a real hand in order to call you. That's a good spot to be in. You pick up 5 or 6 big blinds with that one move.
Yep, that's what I said. I'm looking to move over the top on Harry when he's getting out of line. He tends to get out of line a lot, especially he knows I'm playing very tight. So if he does get out of line, I can come over the top on him.
And this will be your 3rd World Series of Poker final table? 4th. Harry won the Omaha 8 championship a few years ago. He does have a World Series of Poker bracelet. I know none of my friends believe it either, but it's true. And what was your other event?
I have a 3rd place in stud and a 4th place in shoe.
I may have to kill myself.
I'm going for the trifecta. I want to get a final table in every event.
My buddy Rafe First is here, and Rafe, I mean, you can back me up on this. Perry is pretty much the worst player in our home game.
Well, he traditionally he has been, but if you talk to former world champion Phil Hellmuth Jr., like I did the other day, he's pegged it right on the money. Perry is a much better player than he used to be.
All right, Perry, get back to the final table. Thanks for joining us. We'll check in and good luck.
Thank you.
And you're buying dinner tonight, right?
We're going to Outback, baby.
We're going to Outback Steakhouse. Woo, big spender.
That got quoted in Card Player, by the way.
Okay, very, very big pot. I'm up above average. I've got about 6,500 now. There are 34 minutes remaining in the level. Blinds are still 100, 200. My buddy Perry is still in. There are only 5 players left over there. It's Cindy, Violet, Eric Seidel, Perry Friedman, and 2 people I don't recognize. But Perry's doing very well. Just had pocket aces. And Max Pescatori, who I knocked out of the previous tournament a couple days ago, limped in from middle position. I was fairly sure he had a pocket pair, and I was pretty sure he was coming, so I raised it to 600. He moved all in, and basically I called quickly, and this time my aces held up. I was about 82% to win that pot out before the flop, but it feels very good to finally be back above average. I got some wiggling room, and should be good. And Christy Gazes just got to the table. Just got changed tables, and my table broke. We're down to 170 players. Average is about 6,000. I've got 12,000. Huge hand, about 6,000 in chips. And everyone limped to me. Everyone folded to me in the small blind. I completed the small blind for only 100 more. Big blind checked. I've got queen 10 offsuit. Board came 8-6-4. I just led 200 at it, and usually that's enough to pick up the pot if he doesn't have a pair. He called me. Turn came a jack, giving me an inside straight draw. And I bet 800, thinking he would fold. Called me again. The river was a 9, and survived. All right, we're at the dinner break. One of the great things about playing in poker tournaments is that when one of your friends makes a big score, he takes everyone out and you order the most expensive thing you can find on the menu. Perry Friedman's taking us all to dinner. We're at the steakhouse. The tournament's still going on. We got 50 minutes left on break. Perry, you'll be happy to know that I ordered the lobster and the crab legs because I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and both of those were the most expensive on the menu. Rafe, what did you have? Yeah, the huge crab leg cocktail, and Andy Block's here with us, as is Perry's wife. Scott Fishman's sister's here. We're having a good time. Andy, how many chips you have left on the break? We're on break. Andy's still in the pot limit tournament.
I got about 12 or 13,000.
Average is about 10,000. He's well above average. Do you have any big fish at your table?
Yeah, lots of them. A lot of people making crazy plays, stone cold bluffs. They need like runner to win. It's just unbelievable. In a way, it kind of handcuffs you because you can't try and make too many plays because people are just going to play like maniacs. But it also means you're going to get paid off without even hitting a big hit.
Right. So against these players, these maniacs who keep over bluffing and trying to win when they don't really have the hand, what's your strategy? You got to sit back, or?
Yeah, you got to sit back a little bit. You got to play good cards and make big bets, and also don't be afraid once you have those mediocre hands. There are ways. One of my specialties is trapping people, getting them to bluff into me when I don't even have a big hand. Once you recognize a few players that are like that at your table, and you concentrate on them and you take advantage of them.
Oftentimes in these situations with these crazies, you can make more money just by calling than you can by raising. They don't give you credit for a hand. They put you on a draw, even if your hand's not all that powerful. For instance, let's say the board is like Queen 5-3 and you have 2 8s, and they bet. Very often you'll make more money in this spot just by calling and letting them bluff their chips off again than you will by raising.
Yeah, I did.
Right?
I did that almost exactly that hand in a spot. Flop was a Queen 8-3, something like that. I had 2 7s. I check called on the flop. I think the turn went check, and I check called on the river and got another 800 out of him that I wouldn't have. And when I called, he says, nice call, and I turned my hand up and looked his hand. That's a great feeling. That's one of my 2 favorite words to hear in poker is nice call.
Mine too. All right, dinner's on its way. We got about 40 minutes left until the dinner break is over and back to the table. Andy, we got about 130 players left in the field?
Less than that. Less than 100.
There are about 100 left, and they're paying 60. Have you made the money in any tournament thus far at the World Series?
They're paying 45 actually, and I think, I made the money in the first pot limit hold'em tournament. Just barely. I finished 95th, I think. So.
Wow, that's something to be proud of. Put that on your resume. How many money finishes do you have at the World Series?
I think I have about 10.
10 money finishes, and any bracelets?
No bracelets yet. I did win a World Series Poker Circuit tournament.
Right, that's right. He did.
You got a ring.
Hey, he's got a ring and a watch, but no bracelets. No bracelets for me either. What do you think your chances of making the final table in this event are with only 100 players left?
I think I probably got about a 20% chance right now of making the final table, but it's tough. It's a long way to go, and there's still a lot of good players left, and it's going to get a lot tougher. A lot of the bad players are just going to be broke, and it's going to be a lot tougher.
One thing that I've noticed as these fields narrow, it's very clear that the bad players have a hard time making it all the way through. You can get lucky and win a few hands here and there, but the bad players, especially when you get down and start playing shorthanded, generally will go broke. When you get to the final table, most people at the final table have a clue. That being said, Perry Friedman's at the final table for the 2,000 no limit. What do you think about that?
Well, Perry actually has a bracelet. He's the only one at this table right now that has a bracelet, which but
that makes me want to slip my wrist.
Yeah, me too almost. But then again, you look at it and you say, well, if he can do it, then of course we can do it.
That's true, and that keeps me motivated. I think can Perry surpass you in total winnings at the World Series of Poker with a victory here today?
I think with his bracelet, he already has actually.
Wow. Well, he's playing good. We're dissing him a little bit, but everyone's rooting for him, especially because he's paying for a very, very expensive dinner. All right, joining me here at dinner is Jen Creason. Jen is the reporter for PokerWire.com. This is a site that gives minute-to-minute updates from action at the World Series of Poker. Jen, what's the site all about, and how did it come about, and what's your goal?
Well, our goal is to keep people informed on the events that are going on. Whether or not they're on TV, they can see what's happening, how many people are left, what the ship counts are but there's 3 events going on right now, and we're keeping track of all 3 of them. So it's just to keep everyone informed.
Okay, and what do you walk around and you have a wireless laptop and you're uploading new scores and new chip counts all the time?
Right, there are 2 of us with laptops that are typing, and then we have 2 runners who do chip counts and hands. So there's 4 of us total for 3 tournaments, and we pretty much get all the major hands, the double ups, the knockouts for definitely the final table. and a little more than that. So.
Okay. And so you're traveling almost full time for this then, right? You're going all over the country.
If I didn't live in Vegas, I would never be home.
Right.
Ever.
And speaking of living in Vegas, you happen to be living with one of our best friends.
Yes.
And didn't you just get engaged?
I just got engaged to Andy Block.
That's fantastic. How does your uncle feel about that?
My uncle Howard Lutter, who's like my whole family here, I think they're pretty excited about it. My uncle and aunt introduced us, so it's pretty exciting.
I'm sorry, Rick, was that?
How he proposed.
Yeah, how did Andy propose to you?
Well, we were at a piano bar that was the first place we ever went when we met like a year and a half ago, and it was really loud, so everyone was passing notes, and there was like a couple of $100 bills on the table because we were paying for drinks with them, and I was sort of joking around, and I was like, "Will you marry me?" on the $100 bill, and he was like, "No, will you marry me?" And
so you asked first?
Yeah, but he was serious.
Oh, you weren't serious.
Well, I was mostly serious.
You were mostly serious. Andy, I'm not sure that really counts as you asking her to marry you. I think that's pretty much the other way around. But anyway, congratulations to you both. PokerWire.com. It's the best place on the internet to get minute-to-minute updates from the World Series of Poker, the World Poker Tour, and World Series of Poker circuit events.
Yeah.
And all that's due to Jen Creason. Do you have a date set for your marriage?
No, probably next summer. We're thinking
next summer
in the Napa Valley, where my parents' country club. So.
Oh, a little country club girl. Andy's doing pretty good, and she's young too. She's very young. Just graduated. You just graduated from Duke, right?
Yeah.
Andy, you're my hero. All right, off to dinner from the World Series of Poker. Huge pot. I'm up to 48,000. I think I'm the chip leader in the tournament right now. There are 80 players remaining. Just had Pocket Kings, got a $38,000 pot with Pocket Queens against me, and my Kings held up. Things are looking good. Brutal bad luck for Perry Friedman. He busts out in third place, playing three-handed. He got it all in. He had two queens, and Eric Seidel happened to have two aces. When you're down to shorthanded like that, there's no way all the money's not going into the pot. Perry played a great tournament. He's going to take home. How much money is Perry going to get? 200, almost 200,000. His wife might let him spend about 4 of that. She will confiscate every last bit of it. He doesn't make up. What's that?
He has a makeup.
Yeah, he's got a makeup. Yeah, he's anyway. Great tournament for Perry. Sorry to see him out. With 75 players or so, I'm still the chip leader. About 44,000. Looking good. Well, we're on break. The blinds are going up next round to 400, 800. I have 40,000. I'm still the chip leader in the tournament. One dynamic that's happened at my table is I'm trying to steal the blinds too much, and every time I try to steal the blinds, they're coming back over me, and I'm going to have to throw my hand away. So I'm going to tighten up here for I think this whole hour, and only play premium hands. Changing gears is really important. When something's not working, change it. So right now, stealing the blinds is not working for me, even though I'm the big stack of the table. Maybe they're feeling desperate. Maybe they're just picking up good hands at the wrong time for me. But when that tactic's not working, I'm going to switch gears. I'm only going to play premium hands now. The blinds are only 400 and 800. We start paying out at 45 places. I'm going to build my stack slowly instead of trying to steal some blinds. So that's the plan. We got 5 minutes left on break. Eric Seidel and Cindy Violette are heads up now in the no limit final table. Eric's got a slight chip lead, but that looks like it's going to be a really, really good heads up match. We're in the money. 44 players left. I've got almost 60,000. Definitely one of the chip leaders, although the guy on my left is playing very, very good poker and has a lot of chips too. It's a good thing. Doing well. We're down to 27 players. I have 44,000 in chips, about 4,000 more than average. Blinds are going up to 1,000, 2,000. Luckily, we've redrawn tables, and I got that guy off my left who was just killing me. It looks like I got a pretty good table draw here. Very happy with my position. We're going to play down at least until there's only one player that's keeping us here tonight. Is Thor Hansen doesn't want to go home because he wants to play in the tournament. Otherwise, we could be out of here already. But if Thor gets busted, I guess we'll go home early. If he doesn't, then we'll come back. We'll play this level and then come back tomorrow. Okay, disaster. I'm walking through the cashier cage. I busted out in 27th place. at ace-10 in the small blind. Very first hand after we reconvened, after recombining tables, everyone folded to me, and I wanted to keep the pot small, out of position. So I just completed the blind, and Marco Treniello, very, very good player, was in the big blind and checked. Flop came queen 10-8. I bet half the pot, and Marco called. Turn card came a 6. I bet half the pot again, Marco called. And then the river card was a disastrous 10. Now I knew he didn't have 2 pair, because with a board queen 10-8, he would always raise with 2 pair. So when I bet and he moved and he raised all in, I thought he either had Jack 10 or 10-9. Those are really only the 2 hands that I thought he had. But anyway, he had Jack 9 when he flopped the straight, and he played it very masterfully. He got all my chips, and I'm walking to the cage. Very, very disappointing to bust out 27th, but yet another cash at the World Series of Poker. Feel good about my performance today. I was in a very tough spot with 2 excellent players on my left all afternoon. A little bit unlucky to catch that 10 on the river. Without that 10 on the river, I don't put another chip into the pot, and I'm still in with the 30,000. So anyway, sometimes good river cards can be bad river cards, and this was one of those times. I'm exhausted. I'm playing golf tomorrow with Andy Richter, and probably will not be down to the World Series of Poker, but I will have someone reporting here. I'm very proud of my friend Perry Friedman, who made it in 3rd place, and FullTiltPoker.com's Eric Seidel for winning the No Limit Hold'em event that concluded today. That is it. I'm going home, having a beer, crawling into bed, and getting up and hitting the ball really, really far in the morning. Cheers.